has never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Hey folks, how are you? Hope you're having a good sort of a Monday. It is a Monday, isn't it? Okay, no, the days just blend into themselves. Thank you, Deb. You're second in the room tonight, but first one to come out with that, Aussie Susan, I'm with the top dog for that. So thank you very much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, folks. Please make sure you subscribe to our main channel. That is youtube.com/the @ and VOF. If you can subscribe to that one, it would be greatly assisting our algorithm just a little bit. So thanks, Debs. G'day, Clayton. Hope you're doing all right, brother. And you're heading to Sydney in the not too distant future too. Here's Aussie Sue. She was shortly in after you guys. The Agate Master, Donna, Alan. Nice to have you in. Who else have we got floating down around there? The lovely Sandy K. Of course, the skies have been full of lines. You're expecting rain. I think you've got a little bit over the weekend and you're expecting more coming, which is very unfortunate. I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and possibly Friday too. That means the donkeys are all wrapped up inside and, well, that's always difficult, I suppose. I've got 103 donkeys on site at the moment. I was talking to Sandy the other day and I'll be honest, folks, they need help. And while we're doing what we can with our lottery, for $2, you can go to merch.vofhq.com and get a ticket in our $750 draw. And it will also give you a second chance at what is about to become a very in-demand item. We are giving away 10 1/10 of an ounce Byron Bobs in our Voice of Freedom packs. And I can tell you, they've arrived, at least the first 9 of them. So for those of you who have already emailed through and said you want one of these, I'll be emailing you tonight and letting you know this is here and an account number and associated other bits. Now, we were going to be able to, hopefully be able to put those out to you for about $100 each. But as it turns out, we're going to have to add postage and handling, postage to it. No handling as such, but postage. So if you're okay with that, then it'll be 100 plus whatever that is, and I think it'll be about $12. Probably, well, it might even be a little bit less. Depends how I wrap it, I guess. So that's the deal with those, and for those who've already ordered, then Vince is madly spitting out more of these, and so too is Pete from Pinaroo's little bloke, William, who is helping us out too. So I'll be a bit happy about that, I think. Thank you very much. But it's only a small amount at the end of the day that we can give Sandy every month. And as you heard last time we chatted with her, it doesn't go a great, distance. We get to feed, I think she said she had 4 donkeys in the ICU at the time, and it would feed them for half a day. So the more tickets that we can buy, and the next lottery will kick over again, another 1/10 round of Byron Bobs will be up for grabs. And a little later on, the draw after that, I think, or maybe the one after that, we've got another gram of gold to give away. So we want to give you the opportunity, and the only way that we can help the Donkey Sanctuary faster and further is by churning over through these lotteries. So I think there's a little under 240 tickets left on merch.vofhq.com. And if you click on the Sanctuary 750 link there, you'll be able to get one of those $2 tickets, or as many as 20 of them, if you so choose, and help us get towards our 750 tickets sold goal. Automatically, we will draw out 2 winners. The first one will be $750. The second one will be our 1/10 Byron Bobs, a whole ounce of them, wrapped up, as I say, in this magnificent little Voice of Freedom pack that Vince has been 3D printing, putting wonderful stuff together. G'day, Margot. Nice to have you in. I want people, folks, if you could, by way of prayers, there's probably 2 things we should cover in earnest tonight in prayers. The first of which is the Offie boys. Paul on the left, Michael on the right. Michael's not going to go to jail, but there is a significant chance that Paul could. And the jury today would have come back in his Supreme Court trial after going away to deliberate at home for the weekend. They may well have come back in and deliberated in the courthouse, but one of them called in sick. So the jury was sent home for the day, as were the boys, and they are back in court tomorrow to find out whether or not the jury has reached any kind of a verdict, or whether they can reach any kind of a verdict on 2 of the charges that Paul is facing. They are only responsible for 2 of the charges. The judge himself will be responsible for the other 5 and deliberating on them. However, the outcome of these 2 particular charges will be quite significant, and Paul Offie is representing himself. So prayers to Paul for strength, prayers to the jury for wisdom and justice, and hopefully the judge as well will see the light. And as many prayers as you can put into that, folks, the better, because it is a very significant, life-changing moment for a young man who would not hurt a fly and has 3 significant brain injuries and is still able to do what he does for the people. In fact, you will hear, because I'll get the court transcripts, you'll hear exactly what Paul did in the lead up to this event and what he planned to do following that event. And all of it was related to helping we the people at Canberra that weekend, and in helping in extraordinary ways. So I look forward to being able to bring you more of those details once the court has finalised and we can get a full transcript. But Paul is representing himself, and that is no mean feat for a man who faces the challenges that he does. So all prayers for Paul and everybody who's around him helping, doing just a truly magnificent job. I had the great honour today to pop in to Ainslie Bullion. Now, I just happened to be driving past, and I've told you that there was a 10-kilo coin that I wanted to get a photo with. Well, I went and got a photo with a 10-kilo solid silver, all the nines, gold coin. That is the latest 2025 snake. And just to give you an idea, that's how thick the thing is. Quite literally, every bit of it, 10 kilos, and got to wear the gloves. And it's inside a plastic thing as well. You just don't want to put any kind of finger marks on that. And of course, it's got Charlie's head on the back of it, but who really cares? Do I need to show you that? It was interesting. I'd like to thank Rod for helping me with this, and James, of course, who's the manager at the Gold Coast branch of Ainslie Bullion. You'll find him at 2400 Gold Coast Highway. And James was the one who allowed me to go and have a look at this and hold it. If you look at it closely here, you'll see it's 10 kilos and its face value there is $300. 10 kilos, face value, $300. Now, I don't think you could buy 10 kilos of all nine silver at the moment for less than $2,000. But if you were to walk into a bank, that is what they would offer you. It was also interesting when I pointed it out, Rod really hadn't noticed. The king isn't wearing a crown. And I don't know if there is significance or if there is just ritual to it, but the king faces to the right, the queens face to the left on coins. I think the ones I've been able to compare, at least, all seem to show that the king faces one way, the queen faces the other way. Don't know if that's significant, but it is what it is. All right, a big weekend is planned, September the 13th of March, that is due to unite Australians behind something I think we can all get behind. The mess that is the corruption and the filth that is in the government, and, well, quite a few other bits and pieces. Now, there was a rally recently that was very well attended around Australia. Unless you were Anthony Albanese or the ABC, you would have been able to tell there were slightly more than 50,000 people nationally who got out to walk around and wave the Australian flag. It didn't really matter which Australian flag you flew, but there has been a lot of controversy about certainly the Sydney event and some of the others in Melbourne. Tonight, we're going to be talking with Mary Jane Letticut, who is the organiser for the Sydney event coming up on September the 13th. Now, originally the plan was to walk across the Sydney Harbour Bridge and get to Hyde Park, where there would be rally and some speeches made, but all that changed. So tonight, Mary Jane, welcome back to the show. Well, you had a big day, Supreme Court girl and all.
Oh, well, after the other two brothers' experience, I don't think I'm even worthy of talking about the Supreme Court, but I was in there for approximately 5 minutes today, New South Wales, Sydney Supreme Court, about the Bridge rally application. And oh my God, it was left me shattered, absolutely shattered. So I can't begin to imagine what those two brothers have been through for 3.5 years, is it? It's just appalling.
Yeah.
Court is not your friend. Judges, not your friend. Never going to be your friend. Even today, in the 2 minutes that I was there, it kicked off with what I can only describe as a pointed attack on me personally. And you'll see this in the ABC reporting, saying, okay, so what's this about? You've sent me two emails on Friday afternoon, and one says, this was at 2:00 on Friday afternoon when I first got the New South Wales Police solicitor's email saying, you have by 9:00 Monday morning to put any paperwork in, and there's a hearing at 2:00 on Monday afternoon. And this is 2:00 Friday afternoon. And I hadn't expected that. So you'll see it in the ABC reporting that I call myself naive. And I was. I thought we had been working cooperatively with police. They hadn't said they would take us to court. They had said that the Palestinians had gone to court. And there's my naivety. And that shows you really got to know what you're doing in these circles. 2:00 got this, went, holy moly, spent the next 6 hours trying desperately to get some form of legal representation, reached out to the barristers that represented the March for Humanity, reached out to the solicitor team for the March for Humanity, also known as the Palestinian March. No response at all from the lawyers for the March for Humanity. The barristers actually got back to me on Saturday morning and said, sorry, they're too busy. So I reached out to 3 fabulous like-minded lawyers in our community, the like-minded, put it like-minded. I have a lawyer for our company because we've got some company stuff going on. And so I had sort of thought that, and he knew what was in the wings. I had hoped he'd be available, but he just wasn't available. He's had other court stuff going on. So he said, I'm really sorry, I can't help you, can't be engaged. I spoke to 2 others, couldn't engage them. So in that first email, I said, my lawyer and I are out of the state. I don't understand what's happening, because you've asked for a Friday afternoon meeting in court, and you've said come to this courtroom, and I don't understand what that is. You've also said 9:00 Monday and 2:00 Monday afternoon, so I don't understand the timing. Then 8:00 that night, I wrote back to the court and I said, I have no representation. I feel ambushed. And ask the question, is this not, I'm not a lawyer, but is this not an abuse of process? So today in the Supreme Court, the judge started with, I've got 2 emails from you here, Ms. Letticoat, and they are contradictory. Here you say you've got legal representation and you understand the times, 9 and 2, and in this one you say you have no legal representation and you don't understand the time. You feel ambushed. That's what you feel, ambushed. What is the truth? And that was set up to present me as an untruthful person.
Yeah.
Our movement as untruthful. So if we had gone through the whole process of court, that would have been the time. Well, look, you can't even get the truth out of 2 simple emails from the beginning. Get-go. How can we trust anything else you say? So I had already, on that Friday night, I had thought about it. I'd waited till Saturday. Saturday night, I chose, and some people may have seen my Facebook post where I apologize to everybody. I'm sorry. I tried. I had sat in my room, my desk, for 2 full days doing everything I could with mountains of these legal paperwork, 17 pages of the Assistant Police Commissioner's affidavit, with very technical things that I had understood one way, but luckily one of the like-minded lawyers had helped me interpret. The understanding was that going to court would risk the entire protest being somehow shut down. Now, I don't understand the legal technicalities around how that would actually happen. I don't know. Maybe it was just the withdrawal of immunity. I don't know. But he said, you are risking an awful lot here, and you are risking personally, because it's my name, it's not an organization, it's not an entity that's protected by limited liability, blah, blah, blah. It's my personal name. I am risking the full charges of legal, hundreds of thousands of dollars. One barrister is $10,000 a day. The Palestinian pro cause had 3 barristers, a full solicitor team, and that went for quite a few days. So who knows what would have happened, but that's the risk to me personally. So ultimately it's my name. I know everybody wanted me to go for it. I know people, even the other organisers, Mick Sims and so on, said, we want it, we can't tell you what to do, but we want it to happen. And even if it loses in court, that's a victory because it highlights what we're up against. And it's like, okay, maybe I get that, but if I'd known that this is where we were going, I would never, I'm going to say, I wouldn't have put my name on the form in the first place. I would not have done that. Not me.
So you found the entire process intimidatory, really?
Not intimidating. I mean, I was harrowing.
Yeah.
So there was, they were geared up for it. And it was interesting, a comment on my post in Facebook, one woman was very insightful, and she said, possibly the judicial system, and I cannot speak for the Supreme Court, I cannot speak for the justices, and I'm sure that they are very fair-minded people, but her interpretation was possibly that one was allowed through in the expectation there'd be another one that would then be stopped, and then there would be division again. Like, the divide and conquer, and I don't know if that's exactly what was going through. I think probably that the justices, actually, the barristers were very, very experienced, and the law, the statutes and everything, the law is probably on their side. But if you can't articulate that, but the main thing is I got to choose whether I could do it or not.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here alone. Everyone's saying you should do this, you should do that, but it's like, okay, I need a team. I need a team to help me read the law, to prepare the paperwork, to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this. Nothing. Like, I had 3 lawyers very kindly gift me between 30 minutes to an hour of their time. And I'm so grateful for that, because that really informed my strategy and my choice. I am also very blessed with the gift of being able to actually read and understand things. It was very hard, and I missed a lot. And I certainly missed a lot. My interpretation of this is that it was, it was set up so that it sent us a lesson. It was designed to be a lesson, not just to us, but to anybody else trying it. It was definitely designed to be a lesson. I acknowledge that to do a bridge thing, there are actually a lot of safety security things you do need to think about. And I acknowledge that we were not prepared as well as we should have been for that, because we were probably lulled into a false sense of security by the police. We thought they were being cooperative, and that's just stupid. All the people in your comments are going to go, oh my God, never trust the police, don't trust them. But the police are under huge pressure. I don't know if you saw what the Premier Chris Minns comment was in one of the press, and I can't remember it verbatim, but it was absolutely the police need to get this sorted. So the police are under huge pressure.
I heard that the police are very tired, and that they're a bit stressed, and that their numbers are thin on the ground, and they would struggle to deal with the traffic issues. I don't know why that would be the case, because they just put cars at intersections and say, go that way, or you can't come this way. But they were able to do it, as you say, for the Palestinian march. And this could well be the ideal setup to say, well, bad luck. We're not going to get it, and it causes more division, as you say.
Yeah. So look, yeah.
Sorry, no, where you go.
Well, look, so my choice Saturday night was to write to the Assistant Commissioner and address every single one of his points of concern regarding safety security of our basic rally in Hyde Park. because there was a real potential that the whole thing might have been stomped on, and so I wrote all that, and then I offered to, and I said, and we are not happy, but we will withdraw the bridge, amend our Form 1. Very technical. You can't put a new one in because then we would not have immunity, because they're very strict on the 7 days. I did put a form in for Barbara O'Neill a few weeks ago. We were 30 minutes late. And
Wow.
30 minutes late, and we did not get that immunity. But it was a small rally, 200 people, and the police were very cooperative, and they said, "You're not going to cross any roads, are you?" And it's like, "Yeah, no, we're just here in the park." But I said very specifically, we are amending the Form 1. Then on Sunday at lunchtime, I had a phone call from the Assistant Police Commissioner Wood. Again, very cordial. Look, people are going to take this away and they're going, "Oh, look there, she's a police shill," whatever. It's like, oh my God, who does this on their own because you're a police shill? I'm just saying, you are welcome to do it. If you're going to complain, here, take it, do it for me next time. And I was relieved, to say the least, that as soon as I removed the bridge, everything was very cooperative. So the great news is that we do have a rally in Hyde Park, kicking off the march midday, walking around the CBD. The city police are fabulous. They're very experienced. They're like, "Yep, how can we help? Yep, no worries. Here we go." Everything is absolutely the way it normally is. And this is why I had been naive in thinking, because we're talking to the North Sydney Western Police, that it would be the same, but it absolutely was not. So the good news is the rally is on. It's unfortunate that there is no Sydney Harbour Bridge walk. But look, I did go to court. My thing said I was hoping I didn't have to go to court, but I did actually have to do legal paperwork and affidavit. I ran down this morning, 5 minutes to 9, to my local solicitor, luckily, who I'd done some wills and things with me some years ago. And he went, "Yep, come down, I'll sign it," signed it, got it into the court in the deadline. It was accepted by the court. So my concern was our message was not going to be on the court records, because in a lot of the paperwork, I believe that my point of view, there was a lot of facts that were not represented quite as correctly as I would have wanted them to have been. But it's a court where you play a game, and you've got to, I know there are other ways to deal with this sort of stuff, but I had one goal at this point in time, was to get the rally approved, to go ahead. We've got a stage sponsored, booked in. We've got $10,000 worth of stuff that's been paid for by sponsors, including us, Freedom FFS, to pay for, to make this happen. Now, the point, people say, like, "Why are you doing a rally?" And I agreed. I'd stopped doing rallies. I'd stopped them. I did them 20 to 2022, done, dusted. They in and of themselves don't achieve anything. Why? It's because, look, this is what this is. Everyday Australians' real struggles demanding change. Yes, we know the government it's corrupted, but that message is as a divide, like that message to me is a bit jarring. So I've reframed this: everyday people, real struggles demanding change. How do we make that change happen? Each one of us needs to do something. So what's a rally about? You get together. You're not alone. You go, "Oh my God, there's all these people here that are like-minded. This is amazing." You get to learn things. You get to meet new people. You listen. Like, we've got Hoodie, we've got John Larter, we've got Cass is coming. I'm going to speak. Mike Sims is speaking, plus other people that will be announced over the next couple of days. You get to learn things about, I'm really hoping Alona Larn from, she's a fabulous example of what she's done in her community. Yes, it's up in Gympie, so she might not be able to make it, but a real example of how you make change in your community. So you learn, you listen, you meet new people, you go back to your own community, and you choose to act. Doesn't matter how small, whatever your own skills and abilities and talents are, whatever you're comfortable with, you go and do that little thing, that one little drop, which creates a ripple, creates a ripple, creates a ripple, and finally we do have a tidal wave of change. But nothing happens by going and standing there looking at a rally and go, yeah, change. No. The only thing we know we can change is ourselves. And we have free will choice, and we've sort of all been brainwashed into thinking you don't have any choice anymore. It's a free will universe. You can choose to change something, but only you can change yourself. And then those around you go, "Oh, okay, well, that's changed there. What are they doing? I'm interested. I'm going over there. I'm going to have a look. Oh, that makes sense. I'm going to do it." And that's how it builds.
So Australia unites. Now it's as you can see behind you there, everyday people, real struggle, demanding change. I've heard so many complaints from different areas about, oh, this speaker's speaking, or you've got that speaker speaking, or whatever. I think that people need to really put that sort of crap to one side. It's the same as which flag are you going to carry? Carry an Australian flag. If it's the red duster, then use that. If it's the blue rag, then use that. Whatever one you're comfortable with, but make it a uniting Australia flag and get behind, I think, anti-government corruption is something we can all get behind, to ask for accountability from those people who've been elected to represent us in that place. That's all something we can get behind. And I know that that's the very large push for what the rally is aimed at around the country at the moment. That should be a uniting message for every different, and I'm going to call them factions, because we've seen, after the march on the 31st, particularly out of Sydney, the division that's been created by NSN and in Melbourne as well. And yet I believe that sort of division has been blown up well outside of the proportion it actually deserves. And by talking about it, we're only giving it further air. However, we want to unite. We want different groups to be able to speak. And I, for instance, may not agree with some of the people who are going to step on your stage, but that doesn't mean I have to listen or agree with everything that's being said from one end of the spectrum, from the far right to the middle right to the far left. What do you think about that? Where does the line get drawn between who gets to say something and who doesn't?
Well, so this Sydney rally is different to the Brisbane rally, different to the Melbourne rally. It happens to be on the same date because that's a date that was set. I was invited to be the organiser. Okay, so when I was invited to be the organiser, I said, well, we need to get an event that represents what I'm happy. I'm not going to organise something that I don't feel comfortable with. The Australia unites, and these are the words: everyday people, real struggles, demanding change. Fits me, right? I want more people like me to stand up and create change.
Yep.
Now, a lot of people don't like me. They're not like me. That's fine. They got their own groups. Go do your own groups. Go do your own rallies. This rally is my rally. My rally's name is on the form with Mike Sims, Millions March. Our message is, how can we help you, everyday Australian people, create the changes you would like to see? Now, in that discussion, we are selecting we're curating a speaker's platform. Okay,
Yep.
And that's very normal. You don't have any rally where anybody just jumps up on the stage. Well, that's not true. Back when I started in 2020 down in Canberra, I had an open mic. Come, who wants to talk? Basically, because I kept losing my voice, and it was an open mic. But that's not how it happens when you've got 10,000 people and you've got a $10,000 stage sound equipment. That's just not how it is. We are curating an event where we want to support the people coming with real inspiring information, inspiring ideas, supportive messages to get out there. So we are curating a fabulous speakers list. We've got a time frame, an hour and something. We can't have 50 people speaking. So that's going to then be limited to 10, 15, 20 maybe. So my response to your question, which is, well, what if you've got other people with different ideas? That's great. They just go do your own rally and you can speak as much as you like and get whoever you want to speak on the rally. And that certainly happens all the time. I'm not invited to speak on other people's rallies. I don't demand to get up there and speak. We're cooperative. We have, to me, there is the unification thing is also very, Australia unites, absolutely. But we're not saying Australia unites among any limited number of people. I personally am wanting to invite all those everyday normal people that may have sort of whoops, accidentally believed what the government said 5 years ago, oops, but now they're kind of going, okay, hang on, something's not quite right. Oh my God, look at inflation, look at this, like my kids can't buy a house, my kids don't get a job. You know, my whole family's sick, people are dropping off. I went to a funeral this afternoon. One of the reasons I couldn't go to the Supreme Court this afternoon was because I was at a funeral of a dear neighbour who'd I'd known for 30 years, the historian of the street, used to walk up and down, everything. 30 years from 1:30 to 3. I wasn't going to miss that to go to Sydney to be in the Supreme Court for you know, when I am the only person sitting here in my room doing the preparation. So anyone who's got any criticism of what I've done, it's like, I'm really sorry. I am.
Yeah.
I didn't meet your expectations, I'll do it. But it's like, you go do what you want to do. That's fine. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not blaming anyone. It's like, absolutely. People's ideas are fantastic. Take the ideas and run with them.
Yes. And I think we're all fighting for the same thing. You know, that's the thing. These different groups are all fighting just in their own different ways. So unity is the key, and it doesn't really matter as long as the message is unifying. I don't think it matters where it comes from or which stage or whatever. I just hope that that it doesn't create division. And in fact,
Guaranteed, 100%.
Well, I was hoping. I've been thinking a lot about what happened in Melbourne and other places when the NSN kicked up in that last rally, and I came up with a bit of an idea, which I'm going to throw up. Don't throw a punch, throw your voice. All right? And do you remember that Australia clip? You know, that song Australia. Well, why don't we sing that? If you don't like the speech that somebody is saying, you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to throw a punch. You don't have to get angry. You just get your group to start singing Australia, or if you can't sing, just yell it. And the speaker, the organisers will know by the amount of people singing Australia in the audience whether or not the speaker has lost the audience, in which case there's no point in letting the speaker continue. You may as well unplug the microphone and get on to the next one, because you've lost the people if they're singing that. And it will also give the speaker an idea of how popular the message that they are putting forward is to the multitude of Australians that I expect are going to turn up, not just in Sydney, but in Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, in multiple regional centres, and Perth, and I'm not sure Darwin. I think, there's a Darwin event too. So I reckon rather than getting angry, if people just start singing Australia, it'll keep the mood light. It's a positive thing. Nobody's having a go. It's just that I'm not interested in your message. I'm not going to yell at you and swear at you and carry on like a pork chop at you without a megaphone. I just sing Australia. And if you've got 50,000 people chanting that in front of you and you're holding the microphone and you know that that's the signal for you to get off, the people are telling you they're not accepting your message. That could be a very powerful way for the organisers to maintain control of their stages as well. What do you think?
Well, so my interesting point of view on that is that I would certainly not be having anybody up on the stage that I would expect that sort of reaction to. So, I mean, it's a great strategy.
Yeah.
But if you end up having someone speaking on the stage and then you have 50,000 people in the audience clearly demonstrating that they're not interested in that message, why did you get them on the stage in the first place? I mean, that's my interesting point of view.
That would indicate, and I'm not saying anything about your organisation, but that would indicate then the organisers are pulling maybe the wrong kind of people to speak at these events if the people turning up to them aren't liking the message they're hearing.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for anybody else's event. All I can do is talk about our event, and our message is clear. And it's not, and I've got to say, I was invited to organise the 31st of August event in Canberra, and I declined because it didn't suit what the message that I am interested in contributing to in real action. Okay. It's not about Oh, we're frozen. Are you frozen? Am I frozen?
No.
Okay.
We're all good.
So for me, it's Australia. Yes, of course, we are in Australia. The message is actually the people. Doesn't matter what colour, creed, where you've come from in Australia. The people are struggling. We're just everyday people. We're not the people in power. The leadership has failed. The management of Australia has failed. We're struggling, and we need to change that management. I know they say, you can change the leadership at the votes. We know that that's not possible. Real change happens at the grassroots level, and real change happens when everyday men and women at the grassroots level start doing things differently. So look, yes, slogans and so on, rallies are great, and little things that we can do that are fun. We could certainly sing Australia for fun. But I wouldn't necessarily see that as a need at the rally that we're holding. But certainly as a fun idea to sing, that's great.
No, yep. I don't think the organisers are expected to get behind it one way or the other. It's the people that'll get behind it, and if you start hearing it.
So let me ask you, Carl. It reminded me of the argument that they have in, when it comes to gun control, for example, and they say, well, look, you can take all the guns away, but the criminals are still going to have them. You're just taking the power away from the nice people. The criminals are still going to have them. The nice people are going to get off the stage, but the ones that, for whatever reason, want their angry message out there are not really going to care about that, the lovely song that people are saying. They're just going to shout louder.
I take your point. I take your point. But public shaming has something to it, Mary Jane, just between you, me, and the gatepost, and that's what it would eventually wind up being.
The shaming, the shaming, that sort of stuff. I'm positive. I'm looking for the creating a positive, generative energy for the future. So all of that stuff, we get attacked all the time by people, inside and outside of the umbrella. Whatever.
Pardon me, I know, but you're going to be attracting an audience of a very broad audience, and they will have very broad views on various different things, and some of them, regardless, will have different views to those of the speakers, whether you want them there or not. Those alternative views, and whether they're the strong ones or not, doesn't really matter. Alternative views will be there. I find something particularly useless about rallies is that the people do the walking, they do the waving, and they do the singing of the song, and then they all go home again. They don't agree necessarily with everything that's been put in front of them, and they don't go home feeling fulfilled that they've actually joined a group that's going to do something. I know that that's your plan with this. So I'm very keen to see how we can unite and give everybody a strong message to go home with, and maybe an example of what they can do in their street, in their local area, in their suburb, in their broader council area, or whatever works for them. Like you said before, it's whatever talent you've got, whatever skill you can bring. What do you have an example? Like, I'm throwing it on you, I know, I apologize.
Well, of what they individually can do.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to each individual. That's the point. No, I am not going to be able to say to everybody, you need to do this. Well, actually, what I can say is they can go back with a question and say, what is it? Ask themselves, what is it in my immediate community that I would like to change? Not see changed, not see someone else change, but what would I like to see change?
Yeah.
Try and empower them. Ask themselves, how can I contribute to that change? And then take one little stab, have a think, and say, oh, what comes up? Oh, I'll choose to do this. I'll choose to do this, and keep going little by little by little. So one thing I would say is go back, ask yourself a question. What is it in my community I would really like to see changed? What is it that my talents and abilities enable me to do to contribute to that change? In asking these questions, you have awarenesses. You go,
I think a lot of people want government change. That's what I thought the rally was in most part about. Certainly it is in Melbourne, and that's what I thought it was about nationwide. This is about government change. This is about the corruption that goes on inside our government.
And how do you think that changes?
Well, is it by going to the park and singing Australia? I don't know. How do we change it? We're
Or
trying
is
to
it
find that
about
key.
each individual man and woman going back to their own community at a grassroots level and getting into council, for example, writing to their politicians, for example, learning some things like, I don't know. I
Being
don't have an answer.
re-engaging in the process because we
Doing
haven't for so long.
doing something.
Yeah, so
And
true.
look, and I get it. It's people feel disempowered. They feel like they can't. Then there's a lot of reliance. Oh, someone else. That thing about someone. Someone should do something. Well, what if each and every person is that someone?
Yeah. Well, let's
And it
hope we
doesn't
can
have
get a
to
lot of
be.
people.
If we have the government at the top and we have all these little sugar cubes at the bottom at the grassroots level, and the little sugar cubes start dissolving the corruption in the base level, the whole tower comes down very, very quickly.
Very true. What's your parting piece of advice for everybody coming to the Hyde Park March on the 13th?
Come along, bring a smile, bring a positive poster, something that you would like to see change. I mean, words and our energy and power. And
Yep.
so you get what you put out, right? So if you put out, someone needs to do something well, that's what's going to come back. Someone is not going to do anything. But if you put out let's do, I don't know, whatever it is that you feel strongly about. And that's why, some people care about the environment, the bees. We're hoping to get Mr. Bee Man coming.
Yep.
The land titles, financial stuff, the whole range, whatever it is that you particularly, you don't have to cover everything. You particularly want to see changed in your community that you think, yeah, I could maybe do something to contribute to that. Just bring that as the idea, energy on your sign, and smile and
Beautiful.
bring that.
Beautiful. It's going to be a huge event. Hyde Park, 12 o'clock, and then a march through the CBD back to Hyde Park again. And I don't think it matters that doesn't really matter that you're not allowed to walk across the Harbour Bridge. I know the people in Melbourne a few years ago took a leisurely stroll up the Westgate Bridge with no permits and nothing, and nobody got any fines, but that was probably because the coppers didn't have enough paper to write fines for everybody that did it. So I guess...
I do have to let you know that the Sydney Harbour Bridge has its own legislation. It is different from anywhere else. There's some special roads in Sydney that have their own legislation. You can get a $22,000 fine and a 2-year prison sentence. The police, so anybody who's got thoughts of, oh, we're just going to do it anyway, well, I have to say, as an organiser, I've undertaken to put the message out that no, please don't do that, because you will be risking this. The police are not going to hesitate to jump on anyone, and they will make an example, and it may come back on me, but and there's a footpath there, and someone legitimately asked me, look, I live on the north side, can I, is it going to be okay for me to walk across the footpath onto the south side? And I said, be aware, there is a police perception, and they may use any excuse to arrest anybody. Given what I saw today in court, there is a powerful willingness to go hard. And the last thing we want is, to my point of view, is we've got a lot of fantastic energy and ideas, and why are we wasting it on, I get it. If we had millions of people and we could change the government, fantastic. But we know we have to be smart about how we do it. We don't have the what do you call it? The boys in the South in the US. We don't have that good old militia.
True that.
We don't have a freedom of speech like they do in the US. We don't even have the strong common law grounds that the UK has. We have very few rights. So we have to be so smart and so very strategic about how we do it. And that's what I would love to invite everybody to consider. So let's just be clever.
Let's be clever, and let's come together. That's the best thing.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
Don't throw a punch, throw words. Thank you, Mary Jane.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good luck for the event. I'm sure it will be a huge success.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll talk soon. Let's go to Melbourne and check out what's going on there with their organiser, Darren Bergworth, sitting in the back room. How are you, brother?
Very well, Carl. How are you, mate?
Very good, very good. So you've heard the struggles Mary Jane's been fighting her way through with the Sydney event. I know that the Melbourne event has also faced some significant troubles, but not necessarily with the police or any bridges this time round.
No, that's not the trouble we have here. We have, look, I'm just going to put it blatantly, a very obvious undermining of by people that had control of the rallies back in 2021, and they will not relinquish their grip on controlling the narrative and controlling the people. And, you know, we went through that. And at the time we joined all of those rallies, we're oblivious to any of that. We just were there in numbers to present our displeasure with the situation. Unbeknownst to us, at that point, you know, the reason that these people have kept control of the world for thousands of years is that they always roll out their own opposition and their own counter you know, groups, if you like, to get people to think that someone's, you know, they're fighting for them. I called out the Ratepayers Association of Victoria when they tried to infiltrate my place in early 2023, when we were hammering councils, and you know, the lawyer that ran that organisation for 22 years, you know, approached saying, "No, you're going about it all the wrong way, etc., etc." And I said, "Well, how long have you been doing your Ratepayers Association for?" I won't mention his name. And he said, over 20 years. And I said, yeah, for 20 years, the people thought they had someone in their corner fighting for them, and you've done jack shit. And we've achieved more in 6 months with rattling the cage at local council than you've achieved in 20 years. So thanks for your offer, but no thanks. And I see exactly the same thing rolling out again now, that they are so hell-bent on keeping control of the narrative. We're actually I believe we're exposing who the real controlled opposition are, because now they're rolling out rallies, counter rallies all around Australia, because they don't want the message that we are spruiking, right? Which is not political. It's not about policy. It's about criminality. And the system, we all know, is run by criminals, in my opinion. I better be careful about whether I'm making accusations or it's an opinion, but it is, everything I say is an opinion. But anyone that's been in this for quite some time are aware of the criminality of the system, from the governments to the courts to the police, and how many people have been charged within those institutions for pedophilia, child trafficking, child porn on their phones, and all kinds of heinous crimes against people. And yet the narrative is trying to be shifted back to a political one. And what they're setting up in Melbourne, there's basically 3 or 4 political speakers that are coming on board. And once again, I can just see this narrative being colluding the people, corralling the people back into a political answer. And as far as I'm concerned, there hasn't been a political answer for quite some time. We've been saying that for quite some time. And when you know the criminality of the system, and you want to, you know, and people still are going to have their own view on this, and that's fine. But we're drawing a line in the sand and saying it's not about policies, it's not about politicians, it's about criminality. And we won't support anything that we know is criminal, including the far left antagonisers and flag burners and Hamas flag holders, and the far right. We need to be in the middle, and we need to come together and unify and call out all the bad players, the Antifa people that are infiltrating potentially the Indigenous, and they're infiltrating all groups to cause that division. And unfortunately, the way I see it is that the bulk of the freedom movement are taking the bait, and we're at a point where we're at war with each other instead of targeting the bastards that are shaking the jar. Yeah,
I agree. I thought that this march was just about that very thing. I mean, it's not an anti-immigration march. It's not an anti-this or an anything else. It's a corruption. You know, the people uniting against the corruption in government. It doesn't mean federal government. It means from your local council all the way up. Pardon me, even from your local school council, probably. So if there are those sorts of concerns, you don't have to be down rabbit holes. You don't have to be concerned about, you know, whether there are UFOs or, you know, all that sort of crap. The only thing you need to be concerned about is are you prepared to be put under the weight of the taxes, the charges, the corrupt decisions, the decisions that are just mind-blowingly stupid in some areas? And I'm not limiting that to migration or immigration. I'm including things like mining and climate change and all that sort of crap, wind and renewables, and the lies, the abject lies that this government is telling you federally and being supported and at state and local government levels.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's the level of corruption we've got to fight against, is all I was going to say.
Correct. And they're being protected and supported by the judiciary and the constabulary, right? So as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, and I've been saying this for a long time as well, they're an organised crime gang, racketeering and enforcing usury and slavery on the people. Now, anyone in public office, whether it's a corporation or not, they are still perceived to be in public office. Now, as someone that's in public office, their number one duty is trustee for the beneficiary, which is the people, the Commonwealth. Okay, so any decision that any politician or anyone that's in that position of trust makes as a collective or as an individual has serious repercussions and consequences if it's not in the best interest of the people, of the beneficiary. So they're in breach of trust law every day that they open their freaking mouths. And people need to, and this is where I've been saying recently, especially, but even before that, is that everyone's so entrenched in just attacking each other and posting shit on social media and bitching and moaning about this one and that one, instead of actually going and doing the work and finding out who's causing all of this. And for the white supremacists that want a white Australia policy, it just happens to be that it's all white politicians pretty much. It's not the Indigenous that are bringing these policies in and the tyranny against the people. It's your white politicians that are sitting in cabinet. So why isn't the attack? Why isn't the focus on the people shaking the jar? And to me, it's obvious that these people, and I'm not saying all of them, whether they know it or not, they're being used to divide the people. So it takes all the attention away from the root of the cause of all our problems back into each other, and we're at war with each other. And we're not actually going to do anything because the rally on that they're opposing to us, and they're running it out of Parliament right next to us, right?
Yeah.
Harrison McLean, otherwise known as Dominic, he's got an alter ego that he posts shit on as well. There's clear links that have been shown and proven with the NSN, and he's speaking. We've got politicians speaking. Wannabe politicians. Morgan Jonas is speaking on his draw card. Cheeseman and the guy that's a wannabe libertarian politician. So these are all the same players that have been around since the first lot of rallies that were running the narrative back then, and they're so intent on not losing their grip of control over the narrative and these rallies that they're running rallies now, counter rallies all around the country against the rally that we put out 2 weeks ago, early under a lot of criticism, but for a reason. Now they're exposing themselves, as far as I'm concerned, as definitely controlled opposition, trying to confuse everybody. The amount of confusion that's out there now about which rally we're running, what's going on, why there are all these rallies. And then because of this rally with all these 5 speakers, that they're doing in opposition to us, that we've had the permits for nearly 2 weeks, there's now a counter rally, an anti-fascist rally that's going to start at Flinders Street and march to Parliament House off the back of these people coming in with their, Save Australia kind of rally, which was the same kind of narrative as 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
I hear you. Mate, I'm going to say it's a developing situation in Melbourne at best.
It is.
Are you going to get up and speak?
I am one of the speakers. Yep.
Very good.
100%. And like I said, there's no grey areas for us anymore. And if people want to go down, be led down the garden path into a political solution, mate, people have very short memories of the heinous crimes that these governments have inflicted on the people, right?
Yeah.
It's genocide, it's crimes against humanity, war crimes. They are absolutely putrid, and I can't believe that people want to join and take part in that system. I can understand it 3 years ago because we didn't know the depth of the problem. We didn't know just how bad and how criminal it was. But once you know what you know, you can't go back. You just cannot go back there. And we're going to be moving forward with that narrative and trying to educate the public with factual evidence and proof of all the crimes that they're committing. You know, people can take it or leave it, but that's we're not going to veer from that message.
All right, mate. Thanks for coming on. I did hope to get a bit longer with you, but I'm sorry I can't. I've got another thing I've got to get to tonight, so I can't.
No, that's all right. I've got a Zoom tonight too, so at 7:30. So thanks for your time, Carl, to kind of explain what's going on. But it is a shit show at the moment. And even Como John's come out now to do a union rally in Sydney as well. So I think there's about at least three rallies now on Saturday the 13th.
Yes.
So what does that tell you? Once again, what I was saying from day one with him. But you know, people are going to have to work it out. All we can do is keep putting forward the opinions and what we're seeing, what we believe is happening, and then it's up to everyone to make. I'm not telling anyone, you know, what they should or shouldn't do. All we're trying to do is put together an assessment of what we see and an opinion, and then it's everyone, you know, up to everyone else to make up their own mind of what they believe is right or wrong.
Couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more. Thanks very much. Go off, have dinner, get to your next Zoom.
No worries. Good on you, Carl. Thanks, mate.
See you, bud. Darren Bergworth in Melbourne, and their rally getting underway in the CBD at midday on the 13th, as we all know. A couple of things quickly before I go. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. I was going to try and show you a couple more pictures, but it doesn't look like it's going to let me. In fact, it may not even play the closer. We'll see how it goes. The old computer, she's been playing funny buggers lately. I hope life, the universe, and everything goes well for you today. Take a look at the price of silver. If you haven't got into it, go and do so, because today that bar or that is it rolling? No, it's not letting me scroll. I can't show you these images again. That 10 kilo coin that I was holding today, it dropped about $12 in the time I was holding it, and by the time I put it back, it had risen again past its $12 and gained another 2 or 3. That's how volatile not volatile, it's just how the little dip this morning in the silver price worked. And it was interesting to see it update more or less in real time while I was holding it. So silver is now back at about the same as it was when it opened this morning. It might be a little bit higher. Gold has had a pretty good day. AinslieBullion.com.au is the place where if you go in and mention me or the Voice of Freedom, you will get a little discount on whatever it is that you buy in the precious metals thing. And don't forget platinum. Platinum is also something pretty good. There is going to be a half a chance I'll have a bit of a live show on VOF tomorrow, just off the phone, provided I remember to take the microphone while I'm driving. And we'll have a chat about a couple of these things, including what looks to be a counter rally now being set up in Sydney. These rallies, counter rallies, it's all about unity, folks. Shouldn't we just be able to come together? And while the speakers, we may not agree with some of them, we don't have to take their messaging on board. As long as the messaging they are putting out that day is unifying, I can't see why we wouldn't take it on board. But we need to put the past behind us to a certain extent. These folks are going to speak. Listen to what they say. If you feel they speak with forked tongues, then seriously, 50,000 people start chanting that in front of a speaker who doesn't, know how his message is affecting the audience. You'll know by the end of the time you chant that for 15 minutes until he stops. Anyway, just a thought. keep it with you, pass it around. Don't forget to like and share the show, folks. And please head to merch.vofhq.com and buy a ticket in our lottery, $750, or a ounce of beautiful Ainslie bullion silver could come your way just for $2. You can buy a maximum of 20. And I think, like I say, a little under 240 of them left out there at the moment. So we'll get into our next draw, hopefully much sooner rather than much later. Be safe on the roads, folks. Plenty of dickheads out there.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!